Welcome boys, welcome girls, welcome Trinbago and welcome world. My name is Mr. Sir and I serve the best writing lesson. So the essay test usually is left guessing. How are those children so bright? Who taught them that creative way to write? Welcome to Cool Creatives, my writing school, where we unlock our imagination to make your writing beautiful. And I am Idiom, not to be confused with idiot or dumb. I am actually Mr. Sir's writing assistant. I bring fun to every lesson.
And welcome to the TTT News Special. It is time to talk to Mr. Sir. I am not sure if Idiom will make an appearance, but definitely we're speaking with Derron Sandy. He is joining us to speak about how he facilitates SEA capacity building, enough education, stress-free. How you do, sir?
I am fine. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here right now.
It's really a pleasure to have you. Thank you. And no, in terms of the name Derron Sandy, okay, so when I hear the name Derron Sandy, I think Two Cents Movement, poet, tall man. But if somebody asks you, who is Derron Sandy, what is your response?
A performance poet, a creative innovator, and arts entrepreneur. I think I fall within those categories. I like to see Derron Sandy, performance poet, as a brand that is able to offer a range of different services using that linguistic creativity to provide solutions in different areas, and of course education being one of those areas as well.
Right, but in terms of finding solutions, what have your movements been like during the COVID pandemic?
It was definitely about solidifying yourself, not yourself as just the artist, but the business side of things, which was something I started to pay more attention to in the previous 3 or 4 years. Doing this full time for 8 years, I left my job and started doing poetry full time at the beginning of 2014. And when the pandemic started rolling around and I realized how serious it might have been, I was like, okay, we have to continue to innovate. We have to continue to look for opportunities. So we started looking abroad. We started seeing how we could diversify our own selves. And I was able to realize how much potential the art actually has, as able to build on previous projects that we might have just left behind because things have been so hectic. So bringing back certain things, we realized that, and those are some of the things I realized during the pandemic as an artist. The spoken word poetry has a lot of potential.
But Derron, take me through that process now in terms of 2014 and saying, okay, well, I am going to walk away from this thing that mightn't be the most interesting, but at the same time, there's this level of, I guess, consistency to say, okay, well, this is what I want to do, and you're following it, and you're going 100%. What was that process like?
It had a lot to do with Jacques-Claude Conan. I mean, as the people would say, he chained me up, or he sold me the dream, in terms of he painted an idea of how spoken word poetry or a spoken word poet could be sustainable. So I was a secondary school teacher. I taught for about 2 years after completing a master's at UWI, or during I was teaching during that time. I was pretty good. I still love teaching, and I've done a lot of teaching through the art form, whether it has been teaching the art form or teaching different topics. So when he sold me the idea of the sustainability and how the opportunities that exist and the opportunities that can be created primarily through the 2 Cents movement, and he also was able to push me as an individual, building my own brand and being able to market myself, I was confident that I had the ability, I had the drive, and I loved the spoken word poetry and reaching people through the arts enough to take it on. I have seen the output grow every single year from 2014 to 2015. I've kept meticulous records that have helped me. I transitioned from just being an independent artist to being registered as a sole trader, getting advice from several different people, not just artists, but people in the business world who actually could have helped you formulate what you wanted to do. And I was able to build that capacity, understand how all the things that you learned before in life. I worked unit trust, I worked a little bit in the construction sector, I worked at Gael, and all these things come together now to help me as an artist, whether it is being on the road, whether it is managing my own finances, getting audits, keeping records, whether it is editing my own content, creating videos, etc. So it's almost as if God kind of placed everything in my life before 2014. So on the moment, when that moment was presented to me, I was able to meet the opportunity and stand up to the opportunity.
And from that, and with that kind of context, makes me want to ask for a little more in terms of giving some of the background and combining your teaching and artistic expressions to come up with cool creatives.
All right, I could go as far back as my parents. My both parents were educators, teachers, and from very young, I remember we would be playing different games, and lying off all the teddy bears to sit down and you teach them, and I would teach them for hours. The character I used to play was a character called Mr. Moore. That was my character with my brothers, sisters, and the neighbors. And we teach and we teach. And when it's Saturdays, we will teach biblical stuff. So there's a lot of teaching embedded in me growing up, I imagine. And during the pandemic, what really pushed me to it was the advent of online learning, and then of course engaging with youth in my NGO, the Keys Foundation, and engaging with children. Otherwise, we realized that there were some challenges. And we decided to combine some creativity, get these characters, and see how we could put these things in the classroom, use song, use ideas, use current trends to put them in the classroom and really create a unique and new and needed product, and it has been a great success since we launched.
Now, I laugh with you saying that, Derron, because the way that you were able to say that I share the experience that both of my parents were educators, but people ask me what you want to do. I say, I don't know, but I know I don't want to teach. In terms of like looking at the effort that they would put out, and sometimes I feeling jealous with other students asking, but wait now, who's your real child here? But in terms of cool creatives, what is the kind of target market you're aiming specifically at?
For now, we're dealing with SEA students, primary school standard 3 to 5, those on the road to SEA. All our programs are labeled after SEA milestones, SEA sharpener. We also had the SEA Olympics. So while athletes were preparing for Tokyo, we had students preparing for the classrooms. And that is our target market. I've realized over the past 2 months that young male writers are particularly enthused by the cool creative method in terms of the characterization. We have Mr. Sir, we have Idiom, we have songs. This video here playing in the background is actually a song on direct speech, open quotations, words that they're saying, and the children pick it up as it comes on screen, and they are able to be entertained, they are able to relax while in class. So any student who is really looking for that alternative style of teaching, any student, any parent who believes that the traditional methods might not be best suited to their child, these are the people that cool creatives are actually targeting, and that will benefit greatly from participation in the Cool Creatives program.
And with that, we take a short break. Drunk or sober, mind your business. So we're going to be talking about the business aspect of Cool Creatives when we return. Stay with us. We are speaking with Derron Sandy.
Let me ring some too. The idea of doing this live can never die because your legacy resides inside every cultural thing tuned to resistance resonating. From you skipping school to follow the revolution wherever it was going, to throwing heart and soul in passing in pathways for orators to take up your shoes and follow years after, unknowingly connected by one desire, that is to share the stories of our people to the world. Resistance lives forever because there is power and rhythm in a word, tall man. Let me talk about spoken word.
And we remember those whose shoulders we stand on as we move forward, striving for greatness. We are speaking with Derron Sandy. And Derron, I use that clip, and thank you for staying with us. I use that performance from you for two reasons. One, to highlight the immediacy and the ability of the artist to take what many people might be feeling but aren't necessarily able to encapsulate and articulate as succinctly, as beautifully, and also to show, to give you the opportunity to share some of that story, share some of the way that Brother Resistance would have touched you.
Yeah, definitely. We had a few conversations. He was absolute savant, way maker. He would have paved the way for us to do what we started doing in the 2 Cents movement, going from school to school, developing workshops and spaces for other youth to pick up the tradition of spoken word poetry and to learn it. It would be remiss of me if I don't recognize him as an absolute legend, an icon, a critical pillar to the oral arts. He always used to say, if anybody is saying the oral art is dead, that they're not looking properly. And of course, that always gives us the reminder that as much as it is an underground art form sometimes, and so to speak, although we continue to grow as artists, we still have to continue to put in the work to share the stories of the people. And that's what resistance meant to me. I remember the last time I spoke with him, we sat on the panel, and he always used to say, tall man, we had to talk about this spoken word thing, we have to talk about this spoken word. And we had several informal conversations, but never anything formal, I guess. He was busy and always going with so many things. But he definitely always used to look at spoken word poetry, and he understood what we were doing, and he understood ways in which we could be better, and how important it would be for us if we could understand the history of the art form that we were taking up and really relay that with a conscious dedication to the art form.
And one of the things, and when you think about the word resistance and all the permutations, resistance bright too bad. But at the same time, he would speak in a language that was basically resistance. So he didn't need to pretty up or dress down. This is just the constant flow. And that is one of the things that I admired about him. But in terms of speaking or using language, writing creatively, I want you to start to break down some of those programs that you have, please. One of them definitely would be the SEA milestone. So we get the opportunity to kind of go through the program. And I also want to know what kind of cohorts you're looking at.
Okay. All right, we start SEA milestones in September. The name itself suggests that we're going to be journeying through the aspects of writing, through the aspects of language arts, because we teach them holistically. There isn't one without the other. There isn't one without the other. So we're going to be journeying slowly, taking our time, pacing our way through, using entertainment as the backbone for our sessions. The style of the sessions is similar to UE style. So you'll have the lectures and then you'll have the tutorials. So we'll have a large group lecture with all the students who register for the program. And when I say lecture, it's actually a performance, much like what you're actually seeing on the screen here with Mr. Sir and Idiom, trying to work out their differences. And in them working out their differences, they're actually journeying through important concepts that students will have to master to fulfill the requirements of the SEA exam. So that happens in September, SEA milestones. Based on the demand and what we have experienced, we also have another program starting in September called Remedy for readers. Yes, this is the medicine for readers who have challenges. We know that a lot of students go through the school system without really mastering the concepts. And I have sort of figured out a unique way to assist struggling readers who now catching up, they are catching up. So we have a unique program specifically for them. This is going to be a very small group, so limited spaces will be available for that particular program. But all our program kicks off in September. I don't believe in school during July or August. That used to upset me. That used to upset me. Come on, nah, July, August is for me to run pelt big soon behind a mango tree or some kind of thing. But in September, we start journeying and we will be there with the students. I will be there with the students, assisting them. I am very passionate about it. And you mentioned something about resistance, using a language that reaches the people. At Cool Creatives, we use a language that reaches the children. We use a language specifically to reach the children. And this is what it's all about come September. Essay milestones and remedy for readers. And as the term goes on, we'll just continue to cycle different programming to these students.
But Mr. Sir, you talk about mango season is for mango. And if you had a collection plate, you could have passed it around and get a little something. Because I feel we have some converts. But at the same time, talking about that collection plate, what is the cost of this sort of program? And how do people register?
All right. So you can check out my Facebook page, Derron Sandy Performance Poet on Facebook. Right now we have that resistance video trending. So just click it and you'll see the other services available as well. There's a link to register. If you're not seeing the link, you could always send us a direct message to register. The cost, it's $200 per month if you're paying month to month. That's September, October, November. Right? September, October, November. About 6 to 8 sessions, each one $200 per month. Pretty good, pretty reasonable. If you register at the top, you save $50. It's just $550 if you register at the top. You save $50 to probably get yourself some more mango. And think when mango starts to go out that season, you have to pay black market mango price, right? So $550, and you can just check out the Facebook page. When you actually get the form to register, all the account information is right there. Everything is done online. You don't ever have to see me in person if you don't want to, right? So everything is available to be done online through online banking, etc. So the process is really easy, really smooth process to register.
We have about 30 seconds more, Derron, but I have to ask the question in terms of like going back to the person behind what is happening. Do you feel sometimes that the educator is battling with the performance artist when you're doing something like this? Or how do you navigate that space?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. I don't. I have come to accept that all those facets are part of who Derron Sandy, performance poet, is, who is me. You know, there's a performer, there's an educator, and it's all about managing the two. Things kind of got out of control when Idiom went to teach the class a day, but that's a different story. Mr. Sir had to come back and reel them in. So that it's a fantastic experience for your students. We use current trends. Check out Derron Sandy Performance Poet on Facebook, on Instagram, Derron Sandy Poet, and get more information. We are easy to find and hope to see some of your students in Cool Creatives.
And definitely looking forward to it. Thank you for shining a light. Thank you for doing what you're doing at this point in time. And thank you for tuning into the TTT News Special. I'm DK Ronstar. On behalf of the entire news team, have a good one.